With 31 million YouTube channels, a handful of people occasionally choose Sir TalksALot for their propaganda. This is N.E.W.S. Hello and welcome to N.E.W.S. In this episode, an article from Politico detailing that Twitter will hand over @POTUS to Biden on Inauguration Day, even if Donald Trump doesn't concede the election. But first, in personal news, I am currently writing Frank Lee versus the Loch Ness Monster. Make sure you subscribe to the Sir TalksALot Main channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. Politico reports the presidential POTUS handle will automatically transfer to President-elect Joe Biden the moment he's sworn in at noon on Inauguration Day, regardless of whether Donald Trump has conceded, the company confirmed with Politico on Friday. The same goes for @White House, @VP, @FLOTUS, and a handful other official accounts associated with the presidency. Check your grammar. Twitter is actively preparing to support the transition of White House institutional Twitter accounts on January 20th, 2021, Twitter spokesperson Nick Pacilio said in an email. As we did for the presidential transition in 2017, this process is being done in close consultation with the National Archives and Records Administration. The handover requires no sharing of information between the outgoing Trump team and incoming Biden team, according to the company. All existing tweets on those accounts will be archived, and Twitter will transfer accounts reset to 0 tweets to the Biden White House. Why it matters. Trump has protested the Biden victory, even though results released by election officials clearly give the race to Biden. GSA, the federal agency responsible for triggering the start of a formal presidential transition process, has thus far declined to do so. That has delayed the Biden team's access to everything from office space and to government email addresses, and even blocked them from using the .gov domain to host an official transition website. I would like to remind you that YouTube has a new policy stating that you will not make videos about election fraud. So, when I wish to say something, I might just grimace. But even should Trump continue to contest his loss and fight his removal from the White House on January 20th, he won't have a say in whether he hangs on to one of the presidency's main digital assets. The dynamic is a reflection of the hugely consequential role Twitter has played in American politics in the Trump era, and the considerable power the company wields. N.E.W.S would like to point out that this is in stark contrast to what Jack Dorsey said in the Senate hearing, when he stated that Twitter cannot influence a presidential election. But I digress. Why it might not matter. President Trump has used his personal account @RealDonaldTrump for most of his tweeting while president. Trump, as a private citizen, will keep control of that account. That said, the account will lose the protection it carries under Twitter's World Leaders policy, which allows rule-breaking tweets to remain up with warning labels the moment that Biden is sworn into office. This simply tells N.E.W.S that Twitter will continue to censor Donald Trump in an even heavier manner in the future. What's next? Twitter said its representatives will meet with Biden-Harris transition officials in the coming months to discuss the particulars of how the new administrations will use Twitter. Before Election Day in 2016, the Obama White House published a robust plan for the transition of its digital assets to the next president of the United States. When President Barack Obama left office in 2017, to make way for Trump, the Obama White House accounts were shifted to archived accounts under the management of National Archives and Records Administration. For example, President Obama's tweets that had lived at @POTUS were housed under @POTUS44 and the account locked. The Trump White House has thus far refused to engage in public discussion of the particulars of the presidential transition, which includes what will happen with digital assets like government Twitter accounts. When we come back, my personal opinion on this matter. But for now, to our public relations correspondent, Murray. Hello and welcome back to N.E.W.S. N.E.W.S believes that this article is important because it details several key aspects of what is going to happen on Twitter in the near future. It is clear to N.E.W.S that on Inauguration Day, when Biden is sworn in, Twitter will either force Donald Trump to remove all of the campaign tweets during 2020, or they will block him completely for rampant violation of their new user policies that will somehow magically exist on the first of the year. That, of course, is wild speculation by N.E.W.S. Because of Twitter's rampant censorship of free speech and refusal to allow both sides to vent stories that are important. This is the last nail in the coffin for my Twitter account. I will rapidly come up with a day to do the Nuke Your Twitter account stream. But until then, I hope you have a wonderful day. This has been N.E.W.S. Remember to subscribe